implement Prop 39.
How are charter schools performing, by the way? Do they include all grade levels at this point?
Yes, the charter law really spans from K to 12. And so across the state and here in Los Angeles, we have a wonderful diversity of schools serving children all the way from K to 12. Some schools, Jack, are solely elementary, K-5. Others are solely middle school, and some are solely high school. However, we do have schools that develop a model that is K-12. Some examples in Los Angeles, for example, are Vaughn Next Century Learning Center in the Valley, the Accelerated School in South Los Angeles, View Park Middle School, Elementary, Middle School, and High School are examples of schools that have K to 12. Camino Nuevo Charter Academy. These are schools that have found, as part of their model in serving the community, that it's been effective to serve all grade levels.
Let's suppose I thought there was a need for a charter school in my area, my neighborhood perhaps. How would I go about taking the first steps to getting that accomplished?
We love hearing that question, Jack. You know, even with 103 charter schools in the city of Los Angeles Unified, serving about 43,000 children and their families, we are still receiving that same question from families who want to start charter schools. Not only families, teachers, administrators, other leaders. So there is a process that we go through to help do that. Very simply, you look for the need in the community. You create a team of professionals to meet that need. Then you create a charter document, and a charter document has certain specified elements that need to be written into it. And then you go through to an authorizer, for example, Los Angeles Unified School District. You go through a process where then that goes to the Board of Education for approval. And once you get approved, then you start either that same fall or next fall. And our association works with many individuals and teams that are looking to develop charter schools across the state.
Let me jump in with a question about that, because you passed by something that I know a lot of people have noticed or thought about. Up until relatively recently, the impression was that the school district, the school board itself, was relatively loath to authorize charter schools. But I think you just mentioned there are now 103 of them within the district boundaries?
Let's be clear. The district is the leader in authorizing charter schools across the nation with 103. In New York, for example, they just lifted a cap of 100, but in the whole state, there are currently about 100 charter schools that have been approved. So Los Angeles Unified has been the leader in terms of approving charters.
How many children would be in attendance in the charter schools in LA? And by the way, what kind of a percentage is that of the total student population?
About 6%. We're talking about 103 schools serving 43,000 children in the city of Los Angeles under LA Unified School District. The school district itself, apart from charter schools, has over 700 schools serving about 720,000 students.
In fact, somebody told me that we have the largest charter school in the country within the LAUSD confines.
Correct. Granada Hills Charter High School in Granada Hills is the largest, with approaching 4,000 students. Also, regional academic decathlon champions this year, and placed second nationally, and are doing great things. Now, Jack, it's important to note that school was a traditional public school that some years ago, based on the need in that school and what that school wanted to do, converted. It converted its status, it changed into what is now an independent charter school. So while it's still under the umbrella of the Los Angeles Unified School District, all charter schools are, as I mentioned earlier, it operates independently. And that's one important note I want to make sure our viewers know. Charter schools are public schools, but they are given the independence on the whole to operate, but they're also held accountable for results. So in the case of Granada Hills, a school that is now independent, they've seen their scores, continually grow. This last year, obviously, a stellar example is their academic decathlon victory. They also are seeing that their teachers, their staff, their community is empowered, engaged, and making sure that while they're a large school, every child has an opportunity to be successful. And that's
bring up, forgive me for jumping in, but please. Another question that I hear asked a lot, and I frankly don't know the answer. I hear a lot of administrators and teachers over the years saying that they are so regulated, in their view sometimes over-regulated, by the state of California in virtually drawing up their lesson plan for every day of the school year. Is the same sort of regulation and imposition of requirements for curricula placed on charter schools?
Charter schools as public schools must meet all of the California state standards. standards. They are also judged in terms of their test scores under what's called the Academic Performance Index. So they must comply with every piece of those standards that a traditional school must comply with. Now, they are given more autonomy at the school site in terms of their curriculum, innovative practices, professional development to achieve those ends. But let's make no mistake about it. Charter schools, if they are not succeeding in improving student achievement, which is the main reason why charter schools are existing, then they will be closed. Now, our focus is making sure that there are high quality options for parents across the city and across the state. And charter schools on the whole, Jack, in LA Unified as an example, are outperforming their peer traditional schools at every level. So at the elementary, middle, and high school level, on the API rankings, on average, charter schools are outperforming, which means that they're, on the whole, meeting the intent of the law, which is increasing student achievement.
I wonder if that's not a contentious thing, because I believe United Teachers Los Angeles has suggested that the numbers may be otherwise and that the situation might not be as far tuned over into the positive side for the charter schools. How do you respond to that?
Well, we're open to the dialogue to make sure that we have all the facts straight and that we're all operating from the same information. Now, when we make the comparisons, we're using the data that all schools and school districts have from the California Department of Education. And when we have done our analysis, for example, on the rankings and how charter schools are faring in comparison to traditional schools, we've also gotten input from the head of the data department at LA Unified to make sure that we're looking at the same data and that we're fairly categorizing the results. And so I think it's important that we continue to leave have openness for the dialogue, but we are looking at the same data pieces. Now, I will say, to your earlier point, you talked about a context of maybe some contention between, say, LA Unified School District and charter schools. I think one of the reasons why there's contention, Jack, is because now we're talking about a larger number of schools that are serving a larger number of students. And what I've heard at board meetings is we've lost $1 billion in the last 2 years. We've lost 45,000 students over the last 2 years. Part of that is attributed to charter schools, however, not all of it. It's other economic factors, mobility of community, etc., jobs, housing. I think what's important is that we have open, honest, candid discussions based on the right information, and the charter school movement is more than willing to partner with the school district to, in fact, improve all public schools.
Well, let's bring it back to the City Council meeting, which obviously is the reason that we've invited you in this week. LA City Council obviously trying to make it easier for new charter schools to come online. How would the new one-stop permit centers help in this case?
Well, first, as from the association, we want to first recognize that the reason we're having this discussion at the city level and the partnership, really we want to thank the leadership of the mayor in making sure that the success of the city is inextricably tied with the success of our schools. And without that leadership, some of these discussions wouldn't be had. Secondly, we want to acknowledge the leadership of Councilmember Janice Hahn and Mr. Huizar for leading this policy. Now, how this helps is very clear. First of all, we're very excited, and the charter community is very excited, because facilities is one of the biggest challenges facing charter schools and charter school growth to serve the demands of the parents. For example, in addition to the 40,000 plus students we're serving, we have tens of thousands on our waiting list that would love to send their child to a charter school. So facilities is one big obstacle hindering that growth and that service to the community. How this motion helps. It takes a huge step forward in coordinating general managers from the key departments of Los Angeles Building and Safety, Department of Transportation, Planning, LA Fire Department, for example, to get together to communicate more effectively and coordinate the case management to expedite charter school facility processes. Now, what's clear is, and what our ownership of this process is as well, Jack, is that the charter schools also are going to get better and more educated, and we've done this already, to making sure that they know how to navigate the system more effectively so that they're also part of the solution, and we're able to then work effectively to get facilities to meet the needs of students.
Before we run completely out of time, if our viewers want more information concerning charter schools, who do they call? Where can they go?
We'd love to have you call our office at 213-244-1446, or please visit our website, www.myschool.org.
Very good. Mr. Cole Gutierrez, thanks for coming in and joining us on Council Week in Review.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot, and we look forward to great partnerships into the future with the City of Los Angeles and a variety of different community-based groups throughout the city and the Los Angeles Unified School District, in the hopes of making sure all of our public schools are excellent schools for all of our children.
And again, the plan to establish a one-stop permit office for charter schools was approved with a vote of 11 ayes. LA City View is the government access cable channel for the City of Los Angeles, featuring live coverage of city council meetings and programming about city department services and events. Now, if you have suggestions or comments about any of the programs you see here on Channel 35, or would like to receive a free viewer guide, call our viewer hotline at 213-473-3978. And remember, you can watch all Los Angeles City Council meetings live in their entirety on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays beginning at 10 a.m. On Sundays, you can watch the replay of all the week's meetings, also beginning at 10 a.m. Well, that concludes our program for the week ending April 27th, 2007. On behalf of Michael Flynn and everyone here at Channel 35, I'm Jack Popejoy. Thank you for watching, and please join us for the next Council Week in Review.
My name is Pico, and I want to tell you something. From Pacoima to Pico Union, Northridge to North Hollywood, Butts to Wilmington, biking LA is the best. And so is watching LA City View 35. It's our city. It's our channel.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council meeting for April 4th, 2007. Sorry, May 4th, 2007. Took away a month there. We are here in Van Nuys City Council chambers where we meet the first Friday of each month. We are typically in the John Ferraro Council Chambers, room 340 of City Hall, but the first Friday of the month in our efforts to bring City Council closer to all Angelinos, we come to the San Fernando Valley and Van Nuys City Hall Council Chambers. When we are here, folks are still welcome to come to our City Hall chambers to testify or give public comment, and we are able to watch that via teleconference. I want to welcome our viewers on Channel 35, where we are broadcast live for each council meeting and rebroadcast in the evening. Also want to welcome any viewers on the internet. We are available online at lacity.org, where you can click on the links and listen to live streaming video of a webcast of our meetings. And finally, if you are close to a telephone but not a computer or a TV, you can always call our council phone service, which is a service of the city to allow you to listen in on the council meetings and our committee meetings. That number is 213-621-CITY, and you can dial through the menu and listen to any of our meetings. Agendas are available on the side of the room here. They're also available in advance through the city clerk's office or online at lacity.org, where all of our council committee meetings and full council meetings are posted. In the agendas, those are posted 72 hours in advance, except for special items, which are posted 24 hours in advance at a minimum. We also split the agenda, as you'll notice, into items that have had a public hearing and items that have not yet had a public hearing. Pursuant to state law, we have a public hearing for every item, either in council committee or here in the full city council. Those items that have already had a public hearing in committee are not required in council to have a full hearing. But if somebody moves to reopen it, we sometimes do listen to further public comment. Any items that have not received a public hearing, if you would like to fill out a card and be heard, there are cards over here on the side, and we'd be happy to listen to you on any of those items. Finally, we also have general public comment, which is for items that are not on the agenda but are under our jurisdiction. And if you'd like to give your thoughts during public comment, also fill out a card and give it to one of the sergeants at arms, and we'll make sure that you get on the queue here. This is a Friday which we begin our presentations usually to members of the public, notables from the community and other heroes from the Los Angeles area. I want to thank the council members that are here. Councilmember Cardenas, Councilmember Gruhl, Councilmember Hahn, Councilmember Parks, Councilmember Reyes, Councilmember Rosendahl, Councilmember Smith. We're waiting a couple more members to constitute 10 or two-thirds of our body and a quorum to begin official city business. One last note, I wanted to note that the mayor will be returning to the city later today. He's expected to be here this afternoon. He has cut short the trip to Latin America. And given the events that occurred at MacArthur Park, he will be returning to be here for this weekend. I also wanted to reiterate to the members of the public who have been following items on in the news about the events in MacArthur Park that the numbers of investigations we have moving forward, we would like to continue to allow folks to call a number of hotlines. Those hotlines are set up so that to assist in our investigation of those events. The first of those is CHIRLA, which is one of the organizations that had helped set up the assembly that was in MacArthur Park, has a number 888-624-4752. Again, that's 888-624-4752 if you have information about the events in MacArthur Park. Crisis counseling is also available through the Los Angeles County DMH Access Call Center. That number for crisis counseling is 800-854-7771, and bilingual staff is available 24/7. And finally, our Inspector General, which is part of our Police Commission, independent from the Police Department, is conducting its investigation, and that number is available for calls in to assist us in the investigation, 213-202-5866. With that, I'd like to recognize for our first presentation, council member whose district these chambers sit in. Please welcome Council Member Tony Cardenas.
Hi, Tony. Good to see you again. Good health, right?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Could the Culture Clash and Mr. Acebo and the producers of Zorro come forward, please? Excuse me, Zorro in Hell, not just Zorro. Thanks. Okay. Today we are going to honor Culture Clash. Culture Clash is comprised of Richard Montoya, Rick Salinas, and Herbert Sigüenza, and was founded on May 5th, 1984, on Cinco de Mayo in San Francisco. And they're determined never to have a gang injunction against their crew. They're a comedy group. Culture Clash has become the most prominent Chicano-Latino performance troupe in the country with their strong sense of political satire, social commentary, and stand-up comedy and performance art. Culture Clash will be celebrating their 23rd anniversary on Saturday, May 5th. This date will also mark the launching of public ticket sales for their newest play, Zorro in Hell. Culture Clash Productions is joining forces with Islas Productions and Zorro Inc. to present their first commercial run at the historic Ricardo Montalban Theater in Hollywood this summer. Zorro in Hell is the most commercial Chicano play in a large Hollywood theater to be produced principally by Latino producers. Culture Clash's newest play, Zorro in Hell, completes the trilogy of plays that deal with California history, including Chavez Ravine and Water and Power. Culture Clash established the Culture Clash Portal Project and Sell Space as an intensive program that seeks writers from all areas in Los Angeles who are interested in developing new stage works rooted in the site-specific interview-based fieldwork that Culture Clash has perfected over the years. Culture Clash 188 is the first course devoted to the teaching of Culture Clash at the University of California, UCLA, in the spring semester of 2007. So they actually have a university who's dedicating time and energy so that young people can understand how important their work is. Culture Clash, after 23 years, is still, as they say, confused and full of rage. 23 years and they're still confused and full of rage. They're not that fast learners, but they're good people. Tickets for Zorro in Hell will be available online starting tomorrow at cultureclash.com. Also, tickets go on sale tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the Montalban Theater in Hollywood. Mariachis will perform at the theater, and the first 30 people who dare to dress as Zorro will receive free tickets. So tomorrow, if you're willing to put on your Zorro costume, Ed, I think you have one in your closet, right? Yes.
It's actually Mr. Zine who has.
That's right. Mr. Zine has one.
He's not here to defend himself, but
he's got that Z on his chest. Okay. So at this moment, I'd like to ask one of the representatives of Culture Clash to please come forward and say a few words.
Thank you, Councilman Cardenas. Thank you. We moved from the Bay Area in the early 90s to LA, and I just want to say that LA has embraced us, the council. I want to particularly thank Councilman Garcetti for allowing us into Hollywood. we
had to check your papers, but it was all right.
No, we're really proud to be there at the Ricardo Montalban, a theater that obviously needs revitalization, and we're there to revitalize Hollywood with Culture Clash in Hell. I think we're going to bring in a lot of people and kind of recreate what Zoot Suit did for the Aquarius Theater back in the 70s. And I just want to thank the council for all their support, and I urge everyone to spread the word. We open July 11th. And here's a few words from Ricardo Salinas.
Open the meadow. No, that's the Silver Lake thing. I'm here for the wrong thing. Thank you so much once again. You've all been there for Culture Clash. This is our last play in the trilogy of plays about California, and specifically Southern California. We did Chavez Ravine, as you know, 4 years ago. Then last year, Water and Power. This year we come back with Zorro in Hell. And we hope everyone catches it. It's important for us to empower ourselves as Latinos here in Los Angeles. And with the help of the Islas and Chris Acebo, who's the set designer, we're going to do our first commercial run in Los Angeles. So we encourage everybody to just spread the word, and thank you so much, Tony Cardenas, for the honor.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Mr. Cardenas, Mr. Reyes would like to add his good wishes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. Reyes.
First, I want to thank Tony for bringing forward Culture Clash and presenting and honoring them. You should know, back in '87, '88, I caught Culture Clash over at the United Way event, in Oakland and in San Francisco and in Berkeley. So I've been following you guys for quite. I'm not a stalker, but I've been following you guys for many years, and the work you've done in each one of your Travis Ravine and Water and Power. I'm happy to say my whole staff has gone to each event, and we're going to be going to your Zorro event as well. And I just welcome everyone to come. And those who are listening on Channel 35, bring your youngsters, bring your teenagers, let them know that they have an ability to learn. This is a history lesson while you're laughing, and it's the type of exposure that really brings forward a strong sense of history of our cultures and Los Angeles. And again, thank you for all you do, because you're enriching our lives with your great talent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And also, Mr. Cardenas, if I may add my good wishes too. Really appreciate you doing this, and I had the good fortune of being able to perform briefly with Culture Clash at the LA Weekly Theater Awards, which was a dream come true. If I get kicked out of office or retire or do nothing else with my life, I've amounted to something. So I thank you guys. You guys, we have big plans for you in Hollywood. We hope this is the start at the Montalban Theater, and I know we're working closely together on that. But I wish you all the best with this. As Mr. Cardenas put it, the most commercial Latino theater thing ever. So that means you guys sold out. But congratulations.
Okay, thank you. And the good kind of sold out, right? Now, I think we just found out who the fourth musketeer is. Thank you, Council President Garcetti, for admitting that. I never thought you'd do it. But now I'd like to give an opportunity for a representative from East Las Productions to speak. It's very important for people to understand that there's wonderful work going on everywhere. But unless someone with the wherewithal and the ability and the commitment and the heart to believe in organizations like Culture Clash, who are already successful, it's still very difficult to get production done. It's difficult for people to put the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars and eventually millions of dollars when it comes to making movies down on the table so that people can see their wonderful work. And it's East Las Productions who have stepped up, and they're committed to the city of Los Angeles and the people of Los Angeles that this is just the beginning of many works to come and wonderful work for us to enjoy. So with that, I'd like to ask Sandra Islas to please come forward and say a few words.
Hi. On behalf of East Las Productions, I'd like to thank Culture Clash and with my husband, Ruben. We'd like to extend an invitation for all of you to come. Opening night, July 18th. Thank you very much, and thank you for celebrating this monumental event. Ruben?
Most of you know me as a developer, but I actually have a degree in theater.
Good combination, good combination. And also I'd like to welcome my wife who